Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay. Today on Blue Reach River, I'm playing the Dark Elves up against the Tomb Kings, and I'm playing a pretty heavy shade build. So we're taking some shades. Now this one gets off to a pretty quick start, but we'll go through my opponent's list first. My opponent's fanned out in a wide sort of infantry position. A lot of Tomb Guard in the front line, so I think he's got about 5 of them all up, and just a unit of Skeleton Warriors out here. He's got the Scorpion Legion here with their anti-large and poisoned attacks. He's got 2 units of Skeleton Spearmen out here. He's got a Bone Giant, a big Bone Giant, and he's got Kartep on his DJ wheels, DJ turntables over here. So Kartep has taken... he has taken the Lich Staff, so really good for spamming spells through the Law of Nehekara. Particularly sort of Incantation of Cursed Blades and Protection, which he's taken. He's also taken Righteous Smiting, and he's obviously got his Bound Sandstorm, which he has, as well as Arcane Conduit. So that's his leadership. He has 2 little Vanguard forces, or not so much Vanguard. They're Vanguard deployed. Skeleton Horsemen and Sepulchral Stalkers on this side, as well as 2 more Vanguard units, Sepulchral Stalkers and Skeleton Horsemen here to round out his force. Now he's Vanguard deployed right in the midst of my Vanguard. 2 units of Dark Riders here, 4 units of Shades with dual weapons. Obviously have pretty decent combat stats, and obviously with repeated crossbows, great AP missile fire. So a good dual purpose infantry unit that can be hard to spot and doesn't take damage from Beausharpty or in this case, a Screaming Skull Catapult on the approach. For my infantry corps, it's pretty cheap. I've taken 3 units of Bleak Swords, as well as 2 units of the Dread Spears and the Hellebronii up the front. I've taken a Fire Mage with Burning Head and Fireball, as well as a unit of Cold One Dread Knights, accompanying Malice Darkblade, who has taken his Warp Sword of Cain. So we'll chuck it on play. It's a nice little early pickup for me. Obviously, I am able to deal with these guys pretty quickly. I sort of want to get the Shades out. I'm using these Dark Riders just to basically pin them in. Obviously, Dark Riders don't want to fight with Sepulchral Stalkers for too long, but Malice and the Cold One Dread Knights are going to come up here and get a pretty decent rear charge as well, and I'm going to be able to pull out most of the Shades without really any grievous losses. This unit here will lose a few unit models, but otherwise I'm not going to bother wasting too much ammunition either, because obviously these guys are already crumbling, already going down. So a really nice early pickup for me. That's probably about 1,500 points worth of damage straight off the bat. And you can see here now I'm pulling away with my Dark Riders now that these guys are crumbling and the Dread Knights can close in. So we will have to obviously come to meet my opponent now. He still has the rage advantage with Kartep beating away with his cauldron. Not his cauldron, his what's it called? The casket. So the Hellebronii here, I'm not really giving him any great value in the front line, but if he works down the Hellebronii, he might get some pretty decent picks. And obviously my Fire Mage is going to skirt up along the tree line here, so not to get sniped by the Bone Giant. Again, Bone Giant shots into infantry, not all that impactful. You want to, this guy can snipe out casters, he can snipe out cavalry models. So want to keep everything here fairly nicely hidden. I'm going to shift the Dark Riders over to this forest just to bring them up and around, see if I can't maybe make him forget about them, or maybe even pull some Skeleton Warriors out of position. Now I don't have these guys on fire at will, because I want to make sure I use their ammunition carefully, and obviously I see a bunch of Tomb Guard here, so obviously Tomb Guard are going to be pretty scary for my front line to deal with. I don't really have anything here that can blend it, and this is what I'm talking about here. I need to get this girl back into the trees because I don't want to get her sniped by the Bone Giant. Obviously the Lich Staff goes down, so her ability cooldown is reset, which is frustrating, and I'm really lax there, but I am pulling back my infantry line just to get them a bit closer, and now I'm just going to focus fire down with the Shades into the flanks of these Tomb Guard. Obviously getting a charge in with the Dread Knights here is pretty nice for me, because no real charge defense or anything like this, and now I have the Dark Riders ready to sort of pounce out here. Burning Head going down is going to clear off these Tomb Guard. Unfortunately it does clip a few of my Hellebronii, and I'm just sort of going to just sort of line up out here and just hold these guys at bay. Tomb Guard will obviously beat regular Dark Elf infantry, and he's doing a fair bit of damage to his own troops here, and I am going to pull my Shades back. Retreating now with the skeleton spears getting in with Malice and the Dread Knights, as the sorceress finally will get into the trees and hide herself, and the Dark Riders out here are going to go and see if they can't get on Kartep. So Malice has popped the, I believe he's popped the Blood Price, or one of his abilities, just recently, and we get a nice little sandwich here. Again, you know, Sepulchral Stalkers will fight Dark Riders quite well, and obviously with the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion getting in here, I don't want to keep them in here too well, but I just don't want them sniping down with their armor-piercing attacks the Dread Knights. The Mage is still, for some reason, not hidden. I probably have too much infantry close by, but she's just the spamming of spells from Kartep. Yeah, he's spammed Cursed Blades on himself to deal with the Dark Riders. He's actually made it really tough for me to get spells off this game. So I've only got one Burning Head off, and unfortunately, a really big mistake here. Giving them a firing order has made them bunch up quite considerably. But we are getting some nice shots into this little pocket here. The Bleak Swords are going to hold quite nicely, and actually what you're going to see in a sec is a really nice Burning Head go down through the ranks of these troops. Elsewhere, you know, my Dread Spears are just holding, giving my damage dealers time, and I see the Ushabti coming down here, so I am going to send some of my rallied Dread Spears in, and as I was saying here, have a look at this value. 7 kills on the Sorceress as the Burning Head rakes its way through 2 units of Tomb Guard and a unit of Skeleton Warriors. She's up to 100 kills, definitely already probably just about got her value back, and I'm just going to start spamming fireballs on Kartep now. I've sort of tried to just deal with him and keep him busy where I can, but the rest of the fighting elsewhere is pretty grindy, and my Cold One Dread Knights are unfortunately starting to get pretty bashed up. Good thing they have good leadership. And Malice is obviously doing a fair bit of the heavy lifting. So I'm going to rotate my Shades now onto these Sepulchral Stalkers, and they're going to get pretty nicely worked down. There's probably some friendly fire from the Bone Giant. I have retreated once again to the Sorceress into the woods to try and just keep sniping fireballs. But again, my opponent did a really good job of actually just spamming Law of Nakara spells and keeping on refreshing my ability cooldown. But we're starting to sort of take control now. The Dread Knights are moving out and around. Malice is going to come up and around. I sense an opportunity to maybe snipe Kartep here. I feel like everything here is doing pretty decently. You know, the Dread Spears have held as admirably as they can. The Ushabti is starting to degen. He has unfortunately gotten 1 unit of Shades to rout, but you look at even the Tomb Guard here, you know, 42 with a sliver of HP, 17 and crumbling. It's not really a big threat for me. Another fireball. I finally get the ability to get a fireball down, and we're just going to keep on using these Bleak Swords to try and buffer out the Scorpion Legion. But we see a massive about face with my Shades. A lot of armor piercing damage going into Kartep, who's activated his Soul Sandstorm, but at this stage feel like I'm sort of just getting the wrap on, and now with Malice getting into combat and using the Blood Price, he is going to make pretty quick work of Kartep. Hasn't had to activate his Zarkin ability yet, but he is getting very low from these shots from the remaining Sepulchral Stalkers. And now he's fighting amongst spears, so I figure, hey, it's time. I feel like the end is nigh for Malice if I don't use this now. So he's going to pop Zarkin as army losses hit. He's going to pop Bloodstorm to give himself some damage mitigation. But now it's just the Bone Giant left, and he's crumbling even with his enormous HP pool. Takes a while to crumble, and as we see, a pretty tattered Dark Elf force, but a victorious one as they slowly wear down this Bone Giant. So Malice Darkblade carries the day. The Shades, we'll have a look at their value that they've accrued in a sec. Obviously a really nice pickup in the early game from those with the Vanguard deploy. Probably got a little bit greedy here. Obviously Dark Elves themselves have a lot of Vanguard deploy options, so having them that far apart, and Sepulchral Stalkers don't have great stats in their own right. They are really good damage dealers, but if they're unsupported, they can take a lot of damage even against fairly light troops like Dark Riders. But yeah, the Shades, 1,000, 850, 870 and 600. So I'd say they've done their job. They've given me some punch against the Tomb Guard, who have really failed to accrue any value. Kartep, obviously great value there, his casket, but just the ability for Kartep with the light staff to lock down my sorceress. I mean, that I think just about all 100 of those kills were from a single cast of Burning Head on that 3-for-1 we got where we managed to bunch them up on I think a unit of Bleak Swords or a unit of Dread Spears. So I just found it really hard to use any magic that game. Every time I clicked over to her and thought I had a good Fireball or I thought I had a good Burning Head, the abilities were on cooldown, because obviously the Law of Nehakara spells, particularly the 2 cheap ones, Curse Blades and Protection and Incantation of Protection, are really spammable. They proc the Law attribute, which heals everything. Obviously a lot of infantry here, getting a lot of free heals, and almost completely locked down my my magic ability. So really nice use of his synergies there. But Malice didn't have to do a lot that game. He debuffed a fair few infantry fights. The Dread Knights managed to get a little bit of value, and obviously my infantry was there basically just to hold. I originally, I think, took a couple of Corsairs, and in the end I'm probably pretty glad I didn't. I'm probably glad I had an extra unit of Bleak Swords and just could go a bit wider and basically just roadblock the Tomb Guard while the Shades got some shots in, and when we could, we lined up a good Burning Head. So yeah, fighting in the shade, it worked on that. I didn't even really have to commit them to close combat, so the dual weapons weren't really that relevant, but certainly plenty of damage from their AP missiles, from their crossbows. So a pretty cool game. Nice use of Kartep here by Assault, and probably got a bit unlucky that his Vanguard was so easily spotted there in the early game. Bone Giant did some decent work, just about killed my Sorceress, but a good game nonetheless. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll be back with more soon. Till then, take care.